So why don't we start with roll call? Karen Anderson.
Here.
John Hickey. Yo. Tim Farner. Yo. Mary Bergeron.
Here.
Anna Carrion. Excused. Amna Anwar.
Hello.
Hello. Nicole Strutman.
Here.
Matt Rudy. And I think Andrea Lacey's now officially on, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yep.
She was on the email list.
Okay, but she didn't say yeah.
She did not say.
Okay. Okay, anybody I missed? Okay, great.
We have,
First-
Anna was usually taking.
Oh.
Does somebody want to volunteer as the temporary minutes taker?
My excuse is I forgot. I know.
You can't walk and chew gum. You take notes on the meeting. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't, I'll have these, but I don't mind writing if somebody tears me a sheet.
Should we give you blank piece of paper, copy paper?
It's fine.
I gotta go get one.
I can even do it.
I can.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah.
Thanks, Max.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so now we're to item 2, which is approval of the October 20 minutes. Does anybody have any edits for the minute? Hearing none, we have a motion to pass. Okay, we got a motion to pass from Tim. Do we have a second?
second.
Second from Karen. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye. Aye.
I abstained because I wasn't here for the meeting.
One abstention. Any nays? Okay, so there we go. Visitor comments. I don't see any visitors. Any visitors? Okay, skip over that one.
John,
Dave.
Wait, may I have?
Oh,
could I just insert a comment about visitor comments or observation? I just wanted you all to know that since I've joined a couple of times remotely, it can be kind of confusing. I hadn't realized if you're observing remotely or maybe watching the recording, if guests sit with you all at the table, it's really hard to tell when a commissioner is speaking or a guest is speaking. So I just wanted to share that observation. I know a lot of times they sit on the sides, but at the last meeting I was on, it was a really full table with guests. So we might want to go back to them sitting on the sides, but just wanted to offer that.
makes sense to me.
Or you can stand when you talk.
They can do what?
You can stand when you
I'm
talk.
not gonna stand every time I talk.
It's not unusual if for the guests to start out on the sides, and if there's room when it comes time for them to speak, for them to be invited to the table, and then they go back to the.
I just meant the
The going back part.
Yeah.
They just sat here in full participation.
Yeah.
By the way, I just meant the guests. I did.
Mm.
We were gonna stand every time. Every time we did
He was
something.
having trouble
Just-
figuring out who was speaking.
I mean, theoretically, the chair could direct people to do whatever's appropriate.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Mary. So any other items before we go to Councilwoman Bliss's report? Okay, Pam, it's all you.
Okay. Let's see. The skate park survey closes Wednesday. We had an open house about 2 weeks ago, well attended by members of the community. And just wanted to give you a reminder that those items like the skate park and the performance park were basically those were items that were on surveys 2 years prior to that, and we kind of took the top choices. So that was not out of the blue that we were putting those there, but they were something that had been kind of vetted through earlier community engagement. So just want to let you know that that survey is closing on Wednesday, and everyone is encouraged to fill that out. The Ivory Crockett open house is taking place right now. It's about the Spray Plaza. that's from 4 to 6 in the pavilion. And then also wanted to remind everyone about the Stormwater Management Commission, that they are still looking for candidates there. I think there are some requirements on your background and experience, but there's still applications are still open. Do you have an update on that?
Yeah, we've received 3 really good quality candidates so far. You do not need to be a Webster Groves resident. However, if you are not a resident, you are expected to have qualifications, whether it's in planning or hydrology or what have you. But we also are looking for lay people, and that would be a Webster Groves resident.
What's the head count you want on the commission?
7, that includes 2 alternates. They'll likely be meeting on a quarterly basis to help city prioritize the stormwater projects. Just so you know, this is the stormwater master plan.
I read that.
Yeah.
I'm convinced
And-
to join.
So I was going to say there's a laundry list of projects, but that doesn't even go as far as saying that's a lot of projects.
So it sounds like if somebody did have engineering or that kind of experience, that
Yeah.
would be a must.
And the folks that we've seen so far, they are engineers. One works for the Army Corps. I think one might have been MSV. So we're getting a good mix of folks so far.
Okay.
That's great. And that's all I have.
Okay, one follow-up question on the stormwater commissions. Is that currently housed within Green Space Advisory Commission?
No,
It's
it's standalone.
new.
It's a brand new commission that the council established by ordinance.
Didn't Green Space Advisory have stormwater under their umbrella at one point?
There was a joint subcommittee between sustainability and green space that decided to do the stormwater master plan, but it's never been housed anywhere.
So now that this task is done with the plan, that
Yes.
that was a temporary thing that is now poof.
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't say it's poof, but it's definitely paused because we're looking for the commission now. I think if something ever came up again, that subcommittee be invited to participate in something else related to this, but
And in
the
fact,
commission is kind of the formal body that will be making decisions.
and one of the members of Green Space is going to be on
Yeah.
stormwater, although he may or may not be resigning from GSAC just because of it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Okay, good. And that's gonna come up later in the agenda, under item 8. That's what I was asking about. Okay, anything else?
no, that's all I had.
Okay, item 5 is staff liaison, David Bookless.
A couple of things. First off, something that'll be on your agenda next month is your schedule for 2026. The dates are all set, but there are 2 holidays that have conflicts. So at the next meeting, I'll provide some alternative dates for you all to figure out which works best for you. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, Sean and I met with a representative from Ameren. Was that last week, I guess? Yeah, it was just last week. If you recall, we were supposed to do a building audit, or Ameren was supposed to do a building energy audit. And well, Sean, you can tell the story if you want, since you were here for all that.
Yeah, we had it scheduled for last March, and then just a few days before, the contact that was going to conduct the audit, and this was a non-certified audit, so we weren't paying for it. It was complimentary, likely to be just casual, but they said they would be willing to. Anyway, he had to cancel, and then I just could never get a hold of him. But we have a new community relations contacts now, and so we had a few different things that we wanted to talk to her about. One of them being this audit, and I've tried multiple times to get a hold of this guy, but never receiving a message back. So anyway,
Nor a bounce back on the email. So
yeah. Although this wasn't confirmed, but I think that he's no longer with Ameren, but they didn't update their system, so there's no bounce backs. It doesn't. Anyway, we have a new contact that's going to come and provide a casual walk through in just a couple weeks, December 2nd.
And they were very responsive. Like literally the day after we met with the public relations person, we were getting emails. So that was nice. Another interesting bit of information that we got from Ameren, we posed the question about what percentage of the city's streetlights have been converted to LED? What's the process for getting them done? And just so you know, the replacement schedule is as one unit fails, they replace it with LED. But here's the surprising thing. The city has 1,089 lights on their account. 780 of them are already LED. So that's about 70% are already converted.
Oh my gosh.
And the reason we actually asked the question, is there any way we could, speed up that process? And we can if we want to pay $100 per. But once we heard we're at 70%, that was pretty, exciting and unexpected. So there's that.
Wow.
Yeah. And they also provided us some more information about, let's see, what do you call it? I guess they have some alternatives to budget billing, some ways you can save money, like paying less with off-peak and versus on-peak rates. Some other programs that they have available as well, like grants and whatnot. This will be all information that we'll be sharing through the website and social media in the coming weeks. And I say we, I mean Sean.
On the follow-up on street lamps, is Ameren at all engaged in the methane street lamps, or is that like not their turf?
That is not their turf, but that is a discussion that's been brought up by some members of council. So we'll get there eventually. I think that might have been a topic in the responsible lighting ordinance as well. Whether or not we want to see those continue in the future. I'm sure you'll see some discussion on that early next year.
That's great. They were at 70% LED.
Yeah, like I said, we were surprised, pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Now, something that you can do, we don't know how old these LEDs are. As we all know, the technology has evolved over time. So this is an unofficial assignment. Keep an eye out. And if you see, a lot of bluish tinted ones, those are probably the older ones. And maybe that's just another discussion to have down the road.
I did have a question about that. So it's pretty obvious that some municipalities have been switching to LED, but they've also feel like they are over illuminated. The spaces that I'm thinking about in Kirkwood, along Manchester, or in Brentwood, in different places. Is that a function of just when they switch to LED, are they raising the foot candles, or is it just the power, less power, and it's brighter light? It just is much brighter and a little more obtrusive than
Usually they swap them out in a.
Do we know this?
We know that the original LED technology, or the older models, are the blue, the typical bright blue LED. But now that technology has advanced, and so now there's actually softer, warmer LED lights that can go in, which is an advantage to having a responsible lighting ordinance, is because one of the things that ordinance tweaks is the color temperature of LEDs. And so if you've got that in there, then we can say to Ameren, look, we've got this ordinance and we'd appreciate the newer technology that you have that is in compliance with the Kelvin and the color temperature within our ordinance.
And what you don't know is, I say we don't know, they replace them when they fail. So it's possible that it could have been failing lights for some time and they were just dim for long enough that we became accustomed to them. And now they're brighter since they're newer. And then the other half of that is, if it's a MoDOT controlled street, they might have different lighting standards than say the county or the city of.
Yeah, I mean, you can just kind of tell because the spacing is too tight.
Yeah.
In some of these newer installations, and that was just curious.
Yeah. Also, just because there are LED lights in certain municipalities doesn't mean that those munis have responsible lighting ordinances.
Right.
So they might not have the shields,
Yes.
you know, so that light is going everywhere versus being shielded downward.
Mhm.
Look for the halo, and you know they're not
Yeah.
shooting.
Yeah.
Of course, I see the halos anyways because I was thinking. That's right.
Okay.
I wonder if they've ever thought about putting adjustments on.
Well, they are.
Are they adjustable?
To a certain degree, yeah, they can shield them as
Yeah,
Sean
I
said.
mean, like, but if enough people say this is too bright, then can they go and just dial it down?
That I'm not certain. That I'm not certain.
You know, though, if there are certain streetlights that you think are obtrusive, you know, let us know.
Yeah, we can tell them, and
We
you
can,
know,
yeah.
no guarantees.
Just let it know to me.
Yeah. well,
How about that?
Also, David, do you want to mention the streamlight recycling?
Oh, I think Sean just did. We have a string light recycling program. We have containers for them at the rec center, and where's the
Actually, Southwest Park
Southwest
and the
Park
service
and the
center.
service center.
They will be out this Friday.
Oh,
And
great.
they will be out until Friday, January 23rd. And so the communications will be going out this week on that.
And as you are all well aware, our trash hauler / recycler does not want to see string lights in commingled with recyclables. It will jam up the machines. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you say it was over the 20th or the 23rd? I'm sorry, I missed
It
it.
goes until January 23rd.
Do you mind telling me what's the 20th is Friday?
Friday, the 23rd of January, or this Friday.
Is the 20th to January 23rd.
That's where I got the
Correct.
23rd.
And we're just saying in the communications, like starting Thanksgiving, they'll be out,
Yeah.
you know, the day before Thanksgiving through January 23rd.
Yeah.
But so you
Well,
all know
that's good to get it out early.
people are.
Because you find out they're bad when you take them out of the box.
That's true.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
right. And
No,
then
when you hang them, that's when you
well, if you're like me, you find out they're bad, and then there's no place to put them until like the middle of December. Then they sit in my trunk, and then I forget. Then I forget until March. Can't do anything.
That's all I have. We're already, a third
can
of the
I
way
give you
through.
one more little nugget?
Oh.
Sure.
Ripple Glass, I just wanted you guys to know, last year in 2024, we filled the dumpster twice for a total of 12.39 tons. This year in 2025, we have filled the dumpster 3 times, and we're currently sitting at recovering 17.81 tons. And we'll also be plugging this again in the coming weeks. So hopefully maybe we can get one more fill by the end of the year. Which would shatter.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Don, that is so amazing. Do they give you any information about whether there's any contamination, or are folks generally doing it right? I feel like you have to really go out of your way to drop it off. So I would think
Yeah.
there's low.
I think you're right. People that are choosing to go out of their way are doing it right. And I do hear every time they come and empty the bin, I hear from our account manager at Franklin, and he gives me the totals. And so if we'd had contamination, I'm sure he would have told me, but it has not come up. Also, Ripple makes it so easy. I mean, that they can even accept candle jars that have wax residue on it. The labels can stay on there. So, it's not that difficult for residents, I think. But no, we haven't had any contamination issues.
Yeah, we met with Franklin at the Circular St. Louis Symposium a couple weeks back. Great guy. He's very excited about the program because we are the demonstration for the St. Louis area.
Cool.
That's great. Good news. Okay, so then we're done with item 5. We're now on to subcommittee updates. And I'll just go through the subcommittees on the order there on this page. Built environment. Karen, you're in that committee. You want to give people an update?
Yeah, so we met last week. John and Mary and I are on this committee. And
Tim, you used to be here. Okay, right. Sorry, right.
and went through our work plan, which is based on the Forever Webster Grows and the tasks that we presented to council. and talked about our priorities and what we would want to do when. A couple of the things are already complete. Like create a standing subcommittee. Jackets come. We had a question though. I thought that city council had already approved us including $200 for EV chargers and electric heat pumps and the money that we got put aside for the solar rebates. Did that not happen? I know that we were talking about it a lot, but I don't remember. I thought it happened.
I don't believe anything formal was submitted. There was discussion on how the commission was working on this and was expected to make this request, but nothing.
Okay,
In
so
the
we need to
budget,
file a
yeah.
request to do
You
that.
need to formalize it, yeah.
Okay.
And without going too far off topic, I think by January is when we'll be having discussions here about your budget for next year, as well as the accomplishments from the past year. So that might be an opportune time to bring that up.
January is not very long.
Well, no, it's not.
Oh, and on that topic, I met another Webster person since our last meeting who had installed solar recently, and she was unaware of the program.
Well, that's one of the things that we talked about was the fact that we need more public awareness and putting together some sort of a public education program. Mary had wonderfully volunteered to update the spreadsheet, and somehow I missed her request to edit it until about an hour ago. And so, Mary, is there anything that you would like to add about the status of any of these items?
No, I don't think so. I guess I have kind of a process question. I appreciated some of the things that we were wondering about, including your question just now, Karen, about the status of the updates, the rebate updates. And it was great to get that response live. Is the preference that we bring requests for status requests to these meetings and share them live rather than by email? David, I saw your goal to provide us guidance on how we can most constructively and transparently bring forward questions to you and work together.
Sure. If that's a topic that you want to discuss at a given meeting, I think it'd be fair to email John and myself and say, hey, can we talk about the status of rebates or what have you at the next meeting? And then that way we can be prepared for it.
Okay,
And
thank
we'll
you.
put it on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that, too quick.
I was just gonna say, couldn't that involve the whole subcommittee if that she's asking you a question related to?
Well, is the question for the commission or is it the question for the subcommittee, I guess? Who wants the response?
Well, I mean, if it's for the commission, I would think the subcommittee would need to be up to date. If we're talking about like the built environment, it seems like we would just have everyone know about this, her question
Sure.
But
on subcommittee. And then the other question is, I'm going to just bring this up since I'm talking. When we first decided to do the rebates for solar, it was said that, or we all kind of thought this was what was going to happen, is that it's incorporated into the permitting process.
It is.
So if it is there a way to just have staff remember to remind someone that, oh, you get a rebate? Why does it have to be the resident that would be bringing that to
Because
staff?
there are a lot of permits that come through, and I think it's just a management issue of because people don't always speak to staff. Sometimes they submit their paperwork for it, and what have you.
Okay, so is there a way for staff to know that solar permits get a rebate?
Well, yes,
Or the
staff, yeah.
cashier or someone?
I think it'd be asking a lot to ask the cashier to remember
Right,
that, but
okay.
but the permit techs, yes, they should be able to do that.
Okay.
And how many did we find that we had this over the past year? Like 3?
We haven't had many. I don't have the
I
numbers.
thought it was 6 or something,
Was it?
but
Well, we had 3 that recently came
There's
through.
3 that
Okay.
I told
Yeah.
that had already put solar up in Webster and knew nothing about it. And I think subsequently have gone to Webster for the rebate, but That's just people like me walking around talking to people and not like having a program of.
Yeah, I mean, with the program, you hopefully it would become a little more seamless.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
we're calling it a
sure.
program than it is
Yeah,
program.
you know, it's meant to be an incentive to
Yes, it
go
is.
solar. And by telling people once they've already applied, that's not really incentivizing it per se. They're already doing it, and that's not to say we wouldn't give them the rebate. I think the bigger issue is spreading the word that there is a program.
I totally understand that, but if it's not worth spreading the word, if it's not being fulfilled later, because we have been talking about this for about 2 years, about the rebates. So I just think we need to close the loop on it.
How are homeowners supposed to find out about it?
Well, historically, I would assume it's on the city's website, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the solar events.
And
I mean,
solar
we've had
events
some
and social
things. It just
media.
kind of is, it's ebbs and flows, the messaging on it.
Is there not a community engagement subcommittee, or am I
Yeah.
thinking of, yeah?
Now there is.
How do you file for a permit?
You either come into City Hall or you can go through the website and download paperwork.
So shouldn't, where the information should be?
Front
On the website, wherever you're getting the permit information?
Yes, but there's-
Or maybe on the permit itself?
Well, easier said than done because there's a many different permits, and to squeeze more information in there, it just gets a little complicated. But
It was set up originally to try to be as seamless as possible, because it is the same permit. So there was no additional paperwork that a resident would need to file. Just when submitting your standard MEP permit, as long as you put down solar in the project field, then you were automatically supposed to get the permit. The planning department would send the request upon final inspection. So when the planning department was finally out an open permit at the final inspection and they were closing it, they would then send the check request to finance. So it was set up with the intention of being seamless, no extra paperwork. There has been some turnover in the planning department, and at some point, I think this process, the communication has broken down. And so I think it's fair that we go back to planning and finance and make sure that everyone's aware and that when the residents, isn't specifically calling out or calling us, where's my rebate, that it's still being.
I mean, our longest term veteran is only a couple of years in that department, so things do get lost in the shuffle. But I think really we just need to make sure that we're getting the word out ahead of time as well. Because truly, if you're trying to incentivize people for doing solar,
Obviously. Yeah, I was just saying, if I'm just looking at myself and saying, well, if I was gonna go get a permit.
Yeah.
It would be great if on the website right there where I'm getting the permit, it says, oh, here's this rebate.
Well, the installers need to know it. They're the ones getting the permit,
and typically that's who.
typically. So, yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely an awareness campaign.
If I didn't know it.
Yeah.
When the biggest residential solar provider in Webster Groves, I believe, is Straight Up Solar. And they're now aware because it was at the EV charging, EV car show. The head guy was there and I know him and I said, yo, how's it going? And he said, oh, we just did 2 installs. And I said, have you got the rebate? And he said, what? So Straight Up does the bulk of residential in this town. So that bit of solving it from the provider end, there's at least that progress.
And maybe it's that simple. Maybe we just need to reach out to the contractors. There's a lot of electricians, but not everybody focuses on the solar side of things. And if we identify who they are, it's as simple as sending out an email, reminding them.
Yeah, it'd be worth figuring out. I'm not sure who else is on that list, but I'm sure there's others.
I think it's a short list. But
Yeah. Okay, super. Anything else on the Built Environment Committee, Mary, Karen?
Unless you have anything to add.
Couple real quick things. We had some feedback, and I forget exactly where it was, where people said, "Oh, we need to deal with solar at Webster Groves Pool." The solar panel's up, and I'm not sure what that So I wasn't sure how to interpret that request.
It wasn't just the pool, it was the whole rec center.
Sean can speak to that.
The panels for the rec center are, I mean, actually, you might know more. I mean, that's in process of bidding out. That's not, the panels that have been put up at the pool are over the shade structure inside the pool. Those were installed last summer.
Yeah, it's the ones I've seen.
Okay, that's what you're asking about, those ones?
Well, I saw those,
Okay.
but, and I'm trying to figure out is whether these other these people saying, well, how about solar? Are they talking about the one that's already installed, or are they talking about some future work? That's, I'm trying to think.
Future work. It's the stuff that's out for bid now. It was just something that we were supposed to keep an eye on. Is this happening? If it's not happening, maybe ask somebody, when's it gonna happen? But it sounds like if it's out for bid.
Well, no, don't quote me on that.
Okay,
We will take that and get back to you on the process.
Okay.
I know it's still, in the plans. I don't know if it's technically been put out to bid yet, but it's still in the plans.
Yeah, I don't think it's applicable.
sorry,
That's
I
great, because that
misunderstood.
roof on the, would be perfect in terms of the size.
Mhm.
and-
It's planned. It's
Okay.
just,
Okay, good. That's super. We've already talked about potentially adding, EV charging rebates. That's something we've got to do as a commission to make that, request. Talked about Ameren and, audit. Is there any update on residential and commercial building code updates?
Yes, it's been identified as we need to update our codes if for no other reason to enable EV charging and a number of other things. It's in process, but it's in line with a bunch of other things. We are also in the since the adoption of the comp plan, one of the priorities of council has been the implementation of it. And what staff is working on right now is a implementation matrix that identifies all the goals and objectives, then all the codes that need to be amended to bring those to fruition. And then we're going to prioritize which need to be changed first. We're also investigating what's called a code audit. And that's, we're going to have potentially a consultant go through all of our codes and you make recommendations to either update things piecemeal or across the board in one fell swoop. One takes a lot more time than the other. And in any case, it's going to cost some money if you hire a consultant to do it. If staff does it in-house, it tends to be incremental, but it also takes longer. But you're using staff resources, which is good and bad. It takes away from us doing other work, but you're not paying extra money for it. That all being said, staff is working at reviewing. We're looking at the 21 building code as the potential goal to upgrade to for commercial and residential, the whole family of technical codes. Ultimately, though, that'll be a council decision, but staff will bring a recommendation. It won't be until next year, certainly. And then once that recommendation is made, there's a particular process you have to go by state statute for updating your building codes. Once you present which codes you're going to and all the amendments, then there's a 90-day waiting period. And that, like I said, that's by state statute. But we'll get there. I expect sometime early middle next year is when we should be bringing something for council to consider, I suspect.
And right now you're looking at the 2021 is the template,
Yeah.
residential and commercial.
Yeah. 24 is the current code. They will be updating to the 27 soon enough. The thinking is let's get to the 24. Yeah, 20. We'll skip 24 and go to 27 when that one comes out. Most cities at least skip one cycle. It also gives you an opportunity to kind of like learn lessons learned from the previous adoption. So that's kind of what staff is thinking, but like I said, ultimately that's a council decision. it'll be a process.
Okay. Okay, super. And Karen, anything else from the built environment?
No, we spent most of our meeting on front facing garages, which is already on the.
That's a separate agenda item.
Yeah.
The next one.
One thing I think I mentioned at our subcommittee meeting is I followed up on the residential rebates that were in the IRA federal legislation. The Inflation Reduction Act that had subsidies for home furnaces and all sorts of different stuff. And I checked in with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, which is responsible for creating the process for how to roll that out in Missouri. They've sent in their proposal to the DOE, Department of Energy. They're waiting for the Department of Energy to get back with us. When they do, that will be another way we can help Roadster residents finance energy efficient upgrades. But when the DOE will act, who knows? Could be never, could be a while, but the state has done its piece of that process. Okay, Community Engagement and Development Committee.
That's me.
Karen, you wanna run with that one?
Yeah, so Anna and Amna and Andy Lacey, I'm kind of an ad hoc member of that committee. And Amna was not available when Anna and Andy and I met last week. Sorry about that, Amna.
Okay.
And we actually came up with a very comprehensive strategy and thoughts about what we should be doing. And I have to tell you this, I've slept since, did I send that out to you all? No.
I'm gonna send it to me. I'll put it on the next agenda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, be happy to do that. Basically, we rehashed the pumpkin smash and spent a long time talking about just the grants, which is another agenda item. Making it big.
Which grants?
It's on the agenda, the Southwest
Under new business.
SWMD grants.
Oh, that grant.
Yeah.
You're talking about
Anyway,
grants.
we've got, I can send out the detailed plan, but we're ready to move forward on a grant if we've got everything in place.
Did you want to update on the pumpkin smash?
Well, the pumpkin smash, did we get a wait from them?
I have not received it, no.
Okay.
It's.
I know Anna requested that. I have not seen it. I'm not sure if, I'm not sure if they provided that to her.
There were some hiccups, as you're probably well aware. It arrived late, right? And it disappeared early.
It disappeared early. I went with my pumpkins. It was
But
gone.
I will say the invoice came on time.
Full price.
It did come at full price, and we were having ongoing discussions about it. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time scooping up pumpkins from the asphalt because the dumpster
Yes.
wasn't there and people were smashing pumpkins in the grass on the
And
asphalt.
kudos to Sean for getting
Salute.
alternative containers out there in the
Yeah.
meantime. Yeah.
Well, kudos to the commission members that stayed late to clean it up. Cause I was thinking, oh my gosh, on Monday, like I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow with the family, cause I can only imagine on Monday when all of the employees come, there's pumpkin guts everywhere. But the commission members stayed longer than
Yeah.
they originally set out to, and it was very clean, so thank you guys.
Good, thank God. So the last count that I heard was 84 cars, which is, wow, at least triple last year. We had some people from Creve Coeur, we had some people from Brentwood, so I'm not sure how everybody is finding out about it. But 84 cars is a lot, and there were a lot more pumpkins in the bin this time than there were last year. I think it was at least half full.
Yeah, Anna did send me a photo that Total Organics sent her after they had collected it, and it looks it looks great. It looks full. It's just
That's a great
hard for
picture.
everyone to see, but anyway, so you had 83 cars on Saturday, just the day of the event, but after that, people continue to come. And I know from a sustainability meeting I was at with other municipalities that Brentwood and Kirkwood, several other municipalities were applauding the Webster Grove Sustainability Commission and saying that our residents are using your dumpster too, so thank you for doing it. I don't know if you want to get into the details, but Anna just told me that our contact with Total Organics said that they only have one truck for hauling, a couple of dumpsters for collection. The one from this year was actually Total Organics internal dumpster. And that every other pumpkin smash that dumps with them outsources the hauling to their yard or waste company. So that would be Waste Management for us. Although, most commonly they deal with Republic, and she said she couldn't recall a time when Waste Management hauled pumpkins to them, but they have hauled yard waste to them on occasion. So anyway, there's ways that we could organize the event without renting from Total Organics, because it was a mess this year. I don't know what happened. It's the same contact that we've used the past number of years, but it arrived late and it was picked up several days early. So maybe in the future, the group considers doing considers ordering the dumpsters through a different vendor. But
And nothing else from community.
Okay, super. Next committee, natural environment, any reports from the committee?
Can I bump this order, Nicole?
Yeah.
So we talked about a few, this is sort of a newer offshoot. We hadn't had specific items on task for us yet. So we had sort of brainstormed some of the things that we thought we could bring back to the commission at some point. And that is ways like an information campaign about pesticide use and timing of pesticide use. We've had folks come to visit to complain about pesticide use in their neighborhoods. So it seemed like a valid time to sort of respond with an information campaign there. So that was one thing we had talked about. We also talked a little bit about a native plant giveaway, or and particularly in relationship potentially to the water management plan, natives that are good at absorbing water, so grasses and certain forbs and bushes that are that we know are good for it. We didn't get too far beyond that, beyond talking about how exactly that would work. But if there was interest in something like that, if we thought it would be a good time to do that as the water management plan develops more, or as that group gets up.
We also discussed the permeable surfaces.
Yeah, that was the third thing.
Promoting that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Third thing on that. Yeah, no worries. So, and then the other thing that we had talked about was, permeable surfaces instead of concrete, just sort of again more of an informational campaign to help people learn about alternatives to concrete.
This is maybe a friendly amendment, but I was talking to Ms. Lochner at the GSET committee, Green Space Advisory Committee, and I talked to Sue Ortnow, who lives in Webster and big native plant private business, about Merrimack Community College being a potential opportunity here, because does anybody know Bill Rupert? Big native plant guy, lives in Kirkwood. He's been part of putting together the native plant program at Merrimack. They've got the biggest in the whole state for teaching people about native plants. And he was telling me that they've got 3 parking lots at the community college that they are tearing up all the asphalt and turning it to native planting.
Nice.
John, I think you actually have that under number 8 under new business, Merrimack Community College to study. But
I do. Okay.
If you said it all, we don't need to say it then.
Do you want me just to do it under new business to keep to the?
I think probably that'd be the.
Okay, good. Okay. Future, I'll tell you in order. Okay, then, anything else from the transportation and mobility?
Yeah, so the only active thing there at the moment is Safe Streets for All. Started meeting again, actually today.
Yeah.
It will be quarterly going forward. The next one's in early February.
That's the task force.
Yeah, sorry, the task force meetings. Today's discussion was about the safety action plan and how to best communicate that to really it's a variety of audiences is the deal that that's the main item I think so. We should be getting information out from that to the task force members for feedback, and then we can be in February. And then along the lines of the natural environment, there's we have yet to meet as a subcommittee, but there's some ideas for particularly as next year's budget planning and task planning comes up, tasks that we can address as a commission under that pillar of our plan. No rush.
Okay.
I have a quick question regarding the subcommittees and the email that we received about from David about meetings and how they should be publicized beforehand and all of that. So I was just a little bit unclear as to how we do the subcommittee work versus our whole commission work, and when and where are those meetings supposed to be posted and not posted. This is probably just my lack of knowledge for how things.
So,
Yeah.
so there was a number of emails going on that were intertwining with green space and sustainability, that involved various topics. And there were also, and historically there have been a couple of cases where there were emails, even in this committee, where there was a quorum on the email thread. If you're talking a subcommittee and the subcommittee's 3 members, you don't need to worry about sunshine for anything like that. But once there's a quorum involved,
What's a quorum for us?
or 4, yeah. So that's why your committees all have 3 people on there. So theoretically, it should only be the official appointees to the committee that are part of those discussions. But yeah, you can have those discussions, at Clover McGee or wherever you might want to be.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, good. Anything else on natural environment committee? Okay. Transportation and mobility. Let's see. I'm got this one. Anything else on transportation and mobility? Okay. Then we're done with. Now we're up to number 7, old business.
And I apologize, I didn't put this on Zoom, but I did distribute the email from the Built Environment Subcommittee to everybody. And I believe that's their draft recommendation for front-facing garages. And we are looking for the formal recommendation from the commission as a whole, so that I can forward that to the city manager. So I'll let Karen sort of introduce what the commission or the subcommittee had to say, but we are looking for action tonight.
Yeah, so in essence, it did get sent out to everybody, but the essence is that the Built Environment Committee felt that a sustainability commission wasn't the best place to make recommendations about front-facing garages. However, we would like anyone who is working with that concept to keep in mind the sustainability issues like permeable surfaces and impermeable surfaces and the size of the buildings, whether a front-facing garage would encourage bigger buildings to be built. So, but as far as a formal recommendation, that's pretty much where we are. We don't want to recommend for or against the front-facing garages.
I think that's outside our purview.
That's pretty much what we're saying. Yeah.
Whatever you have to say is acceptable to staff. You know, it's your opinion. We're just looking for the commission as a whole to either officially endorse this recommendation, make changes, whatever you think is appropriate. So we're waiting on action from you all.
Do you want to put it in the form of a motion?
Well, let me just ask this. If I understand this properly, it's more of an aesthetic issue than it is a sustainability issue. Or am I missing something?
Well, that's for you to determine yourself.
It could be because it's a social thing, because when you have front-facing garages, you have less interaction on the street. So it deals with the human aspect of being in the city. Because think about it. So that's one. Number two, it creates more impervious surfaces because you're going to have
The impervious surfaces definitely
both the
falls
roof
under our purview.
and the, yeah. Well, we concluded that,
But we're talking about garages, not driveways. So
but you need a driveway to get to the garage. So there are a number of sustainability issues, but we thought we couldn't tease out something that was so specific that we could propose a policy position, but we said, whoever does make this decision, here's some things we think you should think about.
And I think that's a very fair approach to it. Comments are necessary so that it can inform however the final draft of the ordinance is written, one way or the other.
So would it be appropriate for Karen to read the text and then we would vote on it? And then we'd have something clear.
So I would like to invite Mary to participate in this because Mary's the one who actually drafted up the wonderful verbiage that got sent out to everybody.
Great.
Mary, would you like to make the motion or would you like me to do?
Oh, thank you. That's very gracious of you. I'm actually not I'm not in a good spot to read it or to make the motion, so I defer to you all to do that. Thank you, though.
Okay,
I have it pulled up if you want me to read it.
thank you.
Or maybe.
Thank you for volunteering.
The City of Webster Grove Sustainability Commission declines the invitation to provide a formal recommendation for or against proposed changes to the city's front-facing garage door code. Although we appreciate the opportunity to review this proposed change, we view this code change as outside the scope of the Sustainability Commission's purview per the Built Environment and Private Residential Buildings section in the Forever Webster Grove Sustainability Plan 2022. However, we strongly encourage the city to consider whether this garage door code change may encourage residential development that increases greenhouse gas emissions through demolition of existing homes, garages, and increased size of new homes and garages, and or to impervious surface areas through increased driveway footprints. Both topics are within the scope of our commission's mission, and both run counter to the goals of the Forever Webster Grove Sustainability Plan.
That's
Okay.
So
Any questions about that before we move to a vote? Okay, so the vote is, is this become our commission response to the city as it makes its decision?
I move that we accept the recommendation as written to forward on to whoever
Technically, it's the city manager.
the city manager. Yeah.
Can we have a motion? Do we have a second? I see a second from Tim. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
So John, if you could just shoot me an email tomorrow with this attached saying that the commission voted to move this forward.
The text that
Yeah.
Karen just referenced.
That's what David forwarded out.
Yeah.
It's the same
Okay.
thing. There have been no
I had
changes since then.
Okay. Will do.
And just a reminder, we are at the top of the hour, so just as an FYI.
Okay, so we're gonna we'll go quicker. Okay, so we've done item 7, item 8, new business. In the interest of speed, I'm gonna move as quick as I can here. The first two bullets are related. The first bullet, the solid waste management district, that's what SWMD is part of county government or can larger jurisdiction. And then invitation for Margaret Lilly, St. Louis County Waste and Recycling Division. We had discussion about applying for funds from the Solid Waste Management District. In doing my due diligence, I talked to Margaret Lilly, and she indicated she had a whole lot more money to throw at us than Jefferson County, to do something like an OOPS program, or a solid waste reduction program. So, not wanting to make any decisions with full body, I asked her, would she be willing to come to our next meeting? She's willing to come if this commission wants her to come, to explain what tools she's got in the toolbox for things like the OOPS program. She ran the OOPS program in Ferguson, for example, and is a real pro at it. And so anyway, that invitation is out there, but it is up to this commission to
As is noted on the agenda, the Solid Waste Management District application is due December 11th. So if you do want to make use of that particular program, you need to decide pretty much
Today. Today. They are actually two completely different things, because the first one is something that could have to be done by December 11th. And there's no way that we'd be able to design this program and get Margaret Lilly in and do all of the things that need to be done. Sounds like a great opportunity for next year to me. To give us some time to think about it and plan out what we really want to do and take full advantage of everything that they have to offer. So for December 11th, what I offered last meeting was to write a grant just for the pumpkin smash for next year, so that we could have some money to get the dumpster, to do some extra marketing and advertising. Brentwood is interested in becoming a partner and doing that with us on that application, going into this. I think that Kirkwood, was that you or Anna that talked about Kirkwood? Do you?
I heard Kirkwood was, well, just wondering why they didn't have a pumpkin smash like Webster does.
Yeah. So there is we don't have time to do much, but we did lay out a full strategy for getting the grant done between now and December 11th. Not knowing, however, when the city needs to have it, and I understand we have to apply through the city for the opportunity to write the grant first, right? There's a link that we have to go through.
Yes, there is a link, and John is the person that has to fill that out, the chairman. But that is reviewed by the city manager. So as quickly as you get that in, I suspect she could have that reviewed. Then the purpose of that form is apparently in days past, I don't know which commission, but grants were applied for, and there was a city match that was involved. And obviously you can't obligate the city to do something like that without going through the proper channels. That's all. So that's why there's that extra step. Yeah. But it's literally an online form. And I think I sent you the link to it, did I not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You did. Yep.
So maybe that, if the commission's in agreement that you want to move forward with this type of thing, you probably need to get the ducks in a row, exactly what you're asking for, and then the chairman can make the ask, and that should get turned around in a matter of a couple of days, I would think, at most.
So if we submit it to the city as a draft,
Yeah.
you have to be the ones to actually submit it, correct? The city submits it to the Southwest, to the waste management.
I think we could probably work in concert to get that done, but you just can't do it on your own, basically. Yeah.
But it has to go through a budget review, correct? That's what we've had to do in the past.
Yeah. Well, if you already have the money in your budget for this activity. And are we talking about the application that's due on the 11th?
Mhm.
Because budget review isn't happen to tomorrow. I can promise you that.
Mhm.
Budget review isn't going to be until early next year. So
So, I mean, for the grant itself, if you're submitting a grant, it has to go through hoops in
yes,
order for the city to approve that this is a grant that
Yeah.
the city wants to stand by,
Yeah.
to apply for.
but I think you'd be safe if again, if you're in agreement that you want to get this application in by December 11th, and you already have money in your budget that's left over for whatever the match might be. And I don't know if there is a
There's no
match. Then you're not obligating the city to anything, so that's less of a concern. I think the city manager would be willing to consider that on its own without worrying about the budgetary issues, since there are no budgetary issues.
All right, just making sure.
Oh, sure.
I just need to know
Oh,
the
please, yeah.
drop dead deadline to get it to the city.
Yeah,
Before it has to go to the granting agency on the 11th.
yeah, I would just say the sooner the better, because you need to give the city manager the opportunity to read it over. I'm sure it's not the only thing on their desk, so.
Yeah. So, all right. If we get it to her by, let's see, 11th is a Thursday. If we had it to, oh God, that's now. Do you think if we had it to her by the 8th, that Monday, that it would be soon enough?
I would hope you'd have it sooner than the 8th.
Sooner than
But
the 8th.
David, are you just talking about the form that needs
Yeah.
to be submitted? So Karen's thinking that the city manager would like to review the application, the full grant application of what.
Oh, no, she needs to,
That's what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
staff can review
Uh-huh.
that end of it. The city manager just needs to review the form that John is gonna submit.
Oh, good.
And
Well,
then-
that's good to have
Yeah,
today.
and as soon as she gives the okay on that, then we can move forward with, I mean, you can start crafting all the narrative and, answering all the questions, just we don't hit send until we get the okay to hit send.
And that's already in my inbox, David.
It should have been in a previous email. If not, I can send it to you again.
Yeah, it was back when we were talking about it.
That was just a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, cool. Okay, anything else you need on that?
Yeah, I need the commission to decide whether or not we want to do this grant.
Okay, fair enough. So what's on the table is, do we want to apply for this grant?
And it's for the purpose of the pumpkin smash.
And the pumpkin
The
smash
purchase
and the pumpkin smash home next year.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, and given that we are already 10 minutes over, and I apologize for being slow, I'm gonna move quickly through 8. We just did the first bullet under 8. Second bullet, I guess what I'd ask the commission would be, and it just be helpful for the commission, is to invite her to come to the next meeting and say, here's all the goodies in my video. People cool with that?
That sounds interesting.
Okay, let's go more formal. All in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed to inviting her, say nay. Approved. The last item, let's not discuss, let me just give the quick notion there is, and we can, maybe something to, is that Bill Rupert at Merrimack Community College is saying, hey, you guys want to come out and see the native plants and see where we're tearing up all this asphalt. So I said, I'll come by on Tuesday, November 18th to take a look. If anybody else wants to go and take a look, they are welcome. It is not an official action because we've not approved it, but the notion is if we eyeball it, then we can come back and we can decide at our next meeting, do we want to do this?
When are you going?
November 18th, 3:30 p.m.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah, at Merrimack Community College. And if you want to come, let me know. I don't know exactly. We have not set a meeting place. I was just going to call Bill and figure that last piece out. But it's
It's gonna be tough.
I mean, ideally, you don't have a quorum or something like
yeah,
this.
let's say far away from quorum on that one. Any other questions on that? Eyeball. The last bullet, let's drop till next meeting, unless anybody has any wants to. It's when STL climate is doing climate action summit in January. Seems like something we should talk about to see whether there's something we can use to build our program. But
I'm going to that.
okay. Then those are all the items. Does anybody have anything further that we didn't cover that we need? Okay. We have to have a vote to adjourn.
You can just,
I can just boom.
you can call for a motion to adjourn, and unless somebody makes a lot of noise saying they want to continue.
Make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
Any problems?
Thank you.